Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you're joining us from LinkedIn, from Facebook, from YouTube, just want to appreciate you for this moment to come and hang out with us. This weekend we're celebrating the International Women's Day, and I think it's an incredible day for us as women to take the time and appreciate how far we've come when it comes to the struggles of women, our rights, and things like that. And so it is my honor to be able to leverage this time and empower us, right? Because it's one thing that we can advocate for ourselves, is one thing that we can ask for the things that we deserve, but it's also important that we are informed. So you guys, welcome to the Elite Women Business and Tax Strategies Summit. Okay, this is day one. It's about to be so good. It's so good. Well, if you do not know me, I am Dr. Lily Binglow. I am a licensed CPA. I am the founder of the ARC NPS, a full service accounting firm. I am an author. I am a speaker, an entrepreneur at heart. And in addition to that, I am an accounting professor at Regent University, teaching accounting to the MBA program. So, guys, if you've never met me and this is the first time you're meeting me, I'm all about sharing what I know so that it can impact, inspire the next person. So you don't only make informed decision, but you build something that will outlive and outlast you. Okay. So, like I started saying earlier, this conference has been put together. This summit was put together to kind of, in alignment with the theme, right, of us celebrating the International Women's Day. And it is only crucial that we continue to inform ourselves and continue to advance ourselves. It's going to be a 3-day summit. Today, we will be talking to women who are in different careers, women that are operating as employees and providing incredible tax strategies to them. Tomorrow, we'll be focused on those who are in the business space, those that are entrepreneurs, giving them tools for success. And of course, the last day, we will be covering nonprofit. So women who are nonprofit founders, giving you the tools to build successful and sustainable organizations. So welcome to day one, guys. And I just want to get right in. Okay. It's so much we have to unpack. So I want to be sure, and I want to ensure that I give you all of it before I get out of here, so you don't come chasing me down. Okay. So what are we talking about today? Our theme or our title for today is From Paycheck to Prosperity. You guys know I get so excited. If I speak too quickly, slow me down. Ask me to stop, take a breath, and slow down, because when I get excited, I get so into what I'm talking about. I just keep it rolling, like a tape on fast forward. And I don't want that. I want to make sure that I'm sharing information with you that is really going to transform the next season of your life. So today we will be talking about From Paycheck to Prosperity. All right. And it's about smart tax and financial strategies for career women, where you will be able to take more, or you'll be able to maximize your take home pay. All right. So just a couple of things to lay the foundation. We can all agree, we can all agree on one thing, that more women are getting educated compared to the days before, where most of our mothers, most of our aunties were not able to go to school or advance themselves. Things have changed, and now you have more women going to school, not only going to school, but getting advanced degrees. What does that mean? That means you're getting a lot more women in the workforce, right? In C-suites, advancing themselves, just making a killing in the world. Okay. That's another great thing. Another thing that has been proven with research is women outlive men for the most part. And these are great things. These are amazing things. But then sometimes there are issues with that. And one of the issue is, with us being so many of us in the marketplace or in different career spaces, we have sometimes not been empowered with enough knowledge on how to bargain for more pay compared to our peers that are men, that we might even be doing more work than them. we've not really learned how or understood how the tax system works so that we can maximize what we're taking home. And sometimes we are very conservative when we invest in our future, forgetting that we're going to outlive most men, which means retirement planning should be key to us. All right. So this conversation today is going to be covering these areas. It's going to be covering your paycheck. So I'm really going to go deep into what your paycheck entails. Okay, I'm going to be talking about different tax advantage accounts you could be taking advantage of in your job. I'm going to be talking about the different tax strategies that are available for you as an employee in a company. I will also be discussing, hold on, I broke it out into 4 sections so that way I stay in order. I will be talking about building wealth and planning for retirement. And then the last one that I want you guys to take note of is how to negotiate your salary. And we're going to talk about that because we're empowering each other, and there's no reason anyone should watch this video and go back and settle for less. All right. So let's get started, guys. I think one of the things that most women struggle with in the workplace is they always say women take a lot of breaks, sometimes for maternity or to take care of family members. True or false? There's this joke that most men now want to have daughters instead of sons because when they grow old and they are sick, it's their daughters that take care of them, which means women will not only take a break from work to take care of their own kids, but sometimes even of their aging parents, right? So you have women that have these interruptions from work, and we have all these different things that affect how much we're getting paid. So now, for us as women, when you start to think about these things, right? Am I taking home enough? And even if I'm getting paid what I think is fair, do I understand the intricacies of it, the taxes, all of those things that can help me make sure I'm maximizing whatever is left? And am I putting away enough for retirement? So let's start. The first part of today's conversation is understanding your paycheck and where your money goes to. If you're taking notes, I want you to take down a few terminologies, okay? The first one is gross pay, and I'm going to explain what they are. Second thing I want you to take note of is pre-tax deductions. Third thing, your taxes that are withheld from your paycheck. Fourth thing, post-tax deductions. And then the last thing is net pay. All right. Most people always talk about gross pay and net pay, but there are a lot of things that happen in between. So if you're a woman who works in the US or works for a US company, these would definitely be things that you can relate to. So what is your gross pay? Your gross pay is generally what your employer pays you based on your agreement that you have with your employer. So if you applied for a job and the job said we're going to pay you $100,000, your gross pay is $100,000. Now, does it mean you take $100,000 home? No. Now, from that $100,000, it's the first thing that can impact that amount is what we call pre-tax deductions. Okay, pre-tax deductions is money that you can have taken out and put into things like a retirement account for you. For example, you can put it into a health savings account. When you have that money taken out, your 100,000 that you have doesn't get taxed. That amount that is taken out doesn't get taxed. Okay, so they call it pre-tax because even though your employer agreed to give you 100,000, part of your taxes will be calculated based on that 100,000. But before it is calculated, you have the opportunity to contribute into different pre-tax buckets, which allows the money now that you have that will be taxed to be reduced. Okay, so the first thing is pre-tax accounts. And when we talk strategies, this will come in very handy. So you have things like 401k, you have things like health savings accounts, you have flexible spending accounts, FSA. Most of these are are pre-tax deductions. Okay. The second thing you have is the taxes that get taken out of your paycheck. So when your pre-tax deductions have been taken out, now your federal income or state taxes get calculated. You hear what I call the income tax. What your income tax is based on the income that you earn. So when we file your taxes, and I know a lot of people never understand this, the goal of us filing taxes generally is for the IRS to assess if you have taken out enough for your federal taxes or not. Same with your state. If you took more than enough, you'll normally get a refund. If you did not take enough, you would have to pay back. So your federal income tax is the amount of tax that you pay based on your after your income once your pre-tax deductions have been taken out. This is important, you guys. If you're taking note, please mark this. That is one tax that's taken out. The second group of tax that's taken out is what we call your social security and Medicare taxes. Okay, so for social security you pay 6.2%, and for your Medicare taxes you pay 1.45%, and then your employer pays the other half. So when you combine these two, it's a total of 7.65%. So long as you're an employee in the US, that money will be taken out. You don't even have a choice, okay? Your employer pays half of it, you pay the other half. That money goes to fund your retirement, your social security, your disability, and all of that, Medicare for when you retire, okay? So remember the taxes that get taken out. You have your income tax that gets taken out based on the money you made, and then you have your social security and your Medicare. Most of the time, people mix it up and they think their social security and Medicare is added to their income taxes. No, those are not added to your income taxes. And that's why it's very important that when you're filling out your W-4, you know how much is being taken out in taxes. All right. So that's the next terminology I want you to take note of. The next one is what we call post-tax deductions. So mind you, we had your gross, there were pre-tax deductions, then there were taxes. Now you have something called post-tax deductions. You know what those will be? Those now will be things that will go towards, like, if you had a loan that you borrowed from your company, it will come from your post-tax. If you had like a union dues, for example, if you're part of a union in your job, those are post-tax, which means taxes have been taken out and they're taking this money from your income post taxes. Okay, and then once all of that has been taken out, you have what is called your net pay. That's what you take home. That's what you use to pay your bills. That's what you use to do, take care of yourself, your family, and all of that. Why did I have to give this breakdown? Because today's conversation, part of it is helping women understand how to take more home. Okay, so you see these different things I just broke down. Let's start with the first thing that can help you take more of your money home. The first thing is for you to be able to complete your W-2, your W-4 right. When you get hired at a job, they will give you a W-4. A W-4 is a form that you report how much income you want to have taken out of your paycheck. If you do not complete that form right, you're either going to overpay on taxes or you're going to pay less. Either way, it is important that you talk with a professional. You can always reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you calculate that. We want to always make sure that you're breaking even. You don't want to give too much of your money, then you're not taking enough home. At the same time, we don't want you to give too little and then you end up owing and paying the IRS with penalties. So make sure that you complete your W-4 right. The second thing is I want you to max out every pre-tax account. What does that mean? You want to put as much into your retirement account as you possibly can. Most employers will always be able to match how much you're putting into your 401k. Make sure that you put up to the amount that they match and then put a little extra. For 2025, you're able to put in 23,500 into your retirement account. Right? That's something that a lot of us don't take advantage of. And that money is not taxed. That's why we call it pre-tax. So when you take it out, it reduces your taxable amount. So now you're putting money towards retirement for yourself and it's reducing your taxable amount of how much you need to pay to the government. Another pre-tax account I want you to take advantage of is what we call the HSA. It's a health savings account. Guys, please take note of this. Every woman that is working, I need you to take advantage of this. So the health savings account is great for someone that has a high deductible health plan. Now, it may not work for everybody depending on the season you're in, especially if you have kids, or especially if you have a kid that is always sick or a spouse that is sick, or if you yourself get sick often. But if you're someone who is healthy, this is an amazing plan. Why? If you're a single person, you can put up to 4,300 into this account, okay? This account rolls over every year. You don't lose the money. The money gets invested, and it's any gains you make from the investment is tax-free. If you ever have any health emergencies or any health expenses, you use that money, you don't pay taxes on it. Now, if you use it for anything that is not health, you will have some penalties. But again, if you're not using it for non-health things, you can have it invested until you're 65. Once you get to 65, you have all this money that if you use for health reasons, you don't pay any taxes on it. And if you use it for non-health reasons after 65, you do not have to pay penalties. Okay. Please, if you want me to elaborate on this, feel free to get on my calendar. This is such a powerful tool and we are not using it, you guys. So for someone who is listening to me and you're an employee here in the US, this is an account I want you to take advantage of, okay? If that money keeps rolling over. So if you don't use it, let's say you put 4,000, you don't use it, it goes to next year and all the gains that it's making is tax free. All right. Another account I want you to use, but I want you to use it sparingly, is what we call the flexible spending account. The problem with this flexible spending account is what you call you use it or you lose it. So if the end of the year comes and you've not used all the money, you could lose it. But you can use it for, childcare, for commuting, for medical expenses. The only tricky part is put only enough so you can spend it by the end of the year so you don't lose your money. Okay. Guys, please hear me out. Any woman listening to me, take advantage of all your pre-tax accounts. We've talked about your 401k, we've talked about the HSA, and then the next thing is that FSA, which is the flexible spending account. You want to make sure that you're leveraging this. What will happen? They are going to shrink your taxable income. That way you're paying less federal and state income taxes to the government, and you get to keep a little more of your money because you're going to be putting it away for you later on. Okay, that was my first tip. So I hope we kind of understand what goes into the paycheck, so now you know how to take advantage of these accounts. All right, my next conversation now is about the different tax strategies that are available for you and tax credits. I know many people, when you just go to file your taxes, you give your documents to someone. Nobody really sits to walk you through the different things that are available for you. Okay. So let's talk about it. When you are, let's say if you're not making a significant amount of money, if you're someone who has kids and you're still building, you're not making a certain amount of money, there's what we call the earned income credit. That is credit that is given to you to support what you're doing to build. I mean, what you're doing, right? To support you because you're not making a significant amount of money. So please, right? Make sure that when you're filing your taxes, whoever is doing it will ensure that you compute the earned income credit. Some systems do it automatically, but sometimes, if someone misses it, you might miss out on that money. So that's definitely available for you. When you have kids, each child gives you $2,000 in credit, in tax credit. So of course, that's an advantage to you. Another thing is, for those that are not making a significant amount of money, do you know there's a credit when you're saving towards retirement? They call it savers credit. Please, when you are making, I mean, I'm careful when I say this, right? Because for someone, 20,000 is a lot of money. For another person, is not. But there are certain income brackets where if you're making less than and you're still able to put money towards your retirement, the government gives you a credit for that. Okay. So definitely something to talk about to your tax person. Ask them, like, do I qualify for savers credit? That's money that's available for you that you can take advantage of. Okay. And then for the women that go back to school or try to advance themselves, even if you have graduated, there's a lifetime education credits that you can take. It's up to $2,000. So I want to make sure that we're aware of some of these, because you remember how I was talking about the pre-tax deductions? Now, how does it tie with some of these credits? When you were listening, I was talking about each credit. You notice most of them is when you're in a certain income threshold, lower income threshold. Think of it, if you were to max out your retirement account, if you were to max out your health savings account, and you were to max out, your federal and your flexible spending, what will happen to you? You can likely qualify for a lot of these credits because your income now will reduce to a point where it puts you in that bracket. But it's not as if you don't have the money. You've just put the money into different buckets for you for the future. Does that make sense? So now think about it. Let's say if you were making less than 36, so to qualify for a savers credit, if you're making less than 36,000, for example, you would qualify. Okay. But you make, let's say, 70,000. Okay. Now you decided to max out your retirement. That's already about 23,500. You also put some money towards your health savings account. Okay, you see how that can already be helping to reduce your taxable income. Then by the time that we're factoring things now, like in case you're itemizing your deductions or even your standard deduction, it could end up bringing you into a tax bracket that qualifies. So I want you guys to think about these things, guys, because if you are able to max the pre-tax account, it reduces your taxable income and it puts you in a bracket that you can qualify for a lot of these credits. Okay, please take some notes because I don't want you to forget this. All right, I promise you guys I was gonna stay on point. And then my last strategy now when it comes to taxes, always weigh in when it comes to your filing status. All right, there are many of you guys that are married, but sometimes your spouse might have a debt or your spouse might be a 1099 who's not taking out taxes. You, as a woman, if you are an employee and you have taxes taken out of your paycheck, it might benefit you and your husband if you guys file married filing separate. Okay. Now, when it comes to this tax stuff, you have to keep in mind that you want to talk to a professional like myself to understand your specific situation. There are advantages and disadvantages of filing jointly or separately. Sometimes, if you have kids, especially if they're in daycare, if you have student loan interest, you don't want to file separate. But if you don't have some of these situations in your life, and you and your spouse, one is maybe a business owner and is making a lot of money but did not take out a lot of taxes, and you are the employee taking out taxes, one of the ways you can make sure that your family is able to max out the refund is to file as married filing separate. Okay. So I want to make sure that you're taking advantage of this, you guys. If it benefits your family to file jointly, of course, I would always advocate for filing jointly because it has more tax benefits, but sometimes it may not be the best option. And remember, we're talking about ways to maximize your take home pay. All right. And we're talking tax strategies right now. So that was the last one I had for you guys. Oh, no. And one more. What did I say? For tax strategies, I talked about tax credits, right? And when you think about adjusting your income, by contributing to pre-tax account, you can qualify for several credits. I talked about being mindful of your tax filing status. And then my last one, if you can start a side hustle, do. Now, I'm always careful with this advice because not everybody should be starting a side hustle because sometimes those side hustles can give you a lot of headache. But if you have something that you're passionate about, that you love to do, and you can do it effortlessly without being stressed, you could consider doing it. Why? It gives you the opportunity to write off things like your mileage, your home office expenses. If you have meetings with clients, you have your business meals, those expenses, you can write them off. Okay. But again, only do that if you have the capacity and if you have something that you know could add value to the marketplace, but you're not currently doing it in your job. All right. Because this is always a great tax strategy when you can have a side gig that allows you to be able to deduct certain business expenses, and that could also help you with taxes. All right. So let's move on now to the next one. So remember, the first thing we talked about was understanding your paycheck. Next thing was talking about taxes. The fourth area that I want to go into now, hold on. I promised you guys I was going to be really good with this. The next area I want to talk about, let's make sure we're good here. Yep, we talked about it. So paycheck, pre-tax accounts. Yeah. All right. So the next in tax strategies, the next thing I want to talk about is building wealth, and of course, that creating that financial security for you. All right. So I'll tell you, women generally are the most conservative when it comes to investing. We are the most, it's like we're always scared, right? Men are more aggressive. They're like, I'm putting my money out there. I'm going into the stock market. I'm buying shares and all of that. Most of us women, we kind of shy. We're like, nah, I don't want to stress myself out. But this is me encouraging you. Science has proven, research has proven that women will live longer than men. So what will happen when you retire and then you have 30 more years to stay and you don't have money, right? So definitely something to consider as you're working, because during your working years, this is the time when you can work multiple jobs. You can put in the energy, be able to save that money so that when you retire, it's going to work for itself and take care of you. So what are my different suggestions when it comes to retiring to investments? Well, the first thing I always say is start small. Sometimes investing can feel like a burden. Start small, okay? Don't rush into it. Don't feel like, I need to put in so much. Everybody's talking about invest money. No, because sometimes when you have to part way with your money, it can give you sleepless nights. So understand who you are, start small. Second thing is my first thing should have been do a lot of research on what you want to invest in. Always make sure you do that. Then the second thing, start small. Don't go and put all your money and start crying at night like, that my $500. Hey, we don't want that. Okay. The third thing I want you to do is to automate. Because when you automate the process, it becomes easier. If you set it up where $100 comes out of every paycheck and you don't see it, it doesn't bother you as much. But if you have to manually do it, sometimes it can be tricky. Okay. What are different things that I would recommend that you consider investing in? First, the stock market is always a good place. If you're putting money in your 401k, most of that will be getting invested for you. That's a really good way to go. There are different options. People talk about things like Bitcoin. I don't know enough to educate in that area, but I just know that if you do your research, you should put your money in a place that you've understood how it works. Okay. The next thing that I really advocate for is also real estate. You know, if you're able to acquire land or building, that's always a good thing for you to do. Now, what is so great is that you have a lot of entities that are being set up that you don't have to buy a whole property anymore. You can just contribute a little bit. It's like a bucket. And then many of you guys contribute, you buy a property and you can split the profits of that. Okay. So definitely consider that option, because when most people think of buying a property and then they think of managing it, holding it, it's a lot. You might not be able to, it might be tough for you, especially if you're not a business minded person or you work full time, you have family. So you can consider doing one of those where you can contribute into an already existing investment bucket, and then they buy the real estate, they manage it, and you take your proceeds. If you can buy your own, even better. But if you cannot, those are options, right? So always think of it. So you have the stock market, of course, and then you have those real estate options. But then there are other businesses so that you can invest in. There are other businesses you can buy from franchises. But I just want to encourage you to think about that long term. It's proven again that we're living longer than men. You don't want to retire and you have to live for 30 years and you're hoping that your kids will take care of you. You see this Gen Z, Y, X, Z, whatever they are calling them right now. You're on your own. No. So you want to be smart. I'm just joking, but you want to be smart about this. All right. So I think that's another thing. Oh, and then the big one, especially when it comes to us building wealth, ladies, hear me out. Please build your emergency fund before you go and start putting money that I want to invest, I want to do this. Please build an emergency fund. Never be someone who does not have 3 to 6 months worth of expenses saved somewhere. Look, things come up all the time. The worst thing that can happen to you is to have a certain kind of emergency and then you're calling people and they're not answering your calls, or turning their back. So before you start to invest, please make sure that you have that emergency fund. So even though I'm encouraging you to invest, I don't want you to just go and start putting money into an investment when you don't yet have an emergency fund. That 3 to 6 months is a good window. It's a comfortable one where if you lost your job, you can see what's happening in the marketplace now. If you lost your job, you have at least a good 3 to 6 months to cover all your stuff. Okay. And then now my last one, which is my favorite part. And I really want to talk about this because I hope that this causes some lady who has been comfortable, not comfortable, maybe you're disgruntled, but you don't know how to go about it. My last one is how to negotiate your salary, okay, and your benefits. Please hear me. I know that sometimes we're very conservative, especially for those of us of African descent. We're very conservative when it comes to having conversations about money. But ladies, we're working so hard. We're advancing ourselves, we're training ourselves, educating ourselves. We have to stop settling and we have to stop cutting ourselves so short. All right. Now, do you think you should just deserve an increase in pay because you're a woman? Absolutely not, right? And should you just sit and all you want to do is compare yourself to men for their pay? No. I think your pay is always a reward or it's an exchange for the value that you're bringing on the table. Keep that in mind. And that's why, if you're taking notes, I want you now to take note of everything I'm going to say here. When it comes to taking more home, there are a couple of things I want you to do, especially if you're not comfortable with what you're getting paid right now. First thing, I want you to research what someone in the position you're in, the maximum they can make, and also get to understand what someone who is making the maximum in that position, what they get to deliver in terms of quality, in terms of value and services. Okay. First thing, do your research. Second thing I want you to do is get the education. The worst thing is someone who comes to you asking for money when they don't have the value to exchange. So get yourself educated, advance your knowledge. And this is not just talking about your degree. You already got the job. That means you probably had the degrees. But I'm talking about taking courses on YouTube, taking courses online, following experts in your field, getting all the knowledge you can acquire in that space, and then, of course, implementing it. The third thing I want you to do is, for every advancement you're making at your job, document your accomplishments. You see, every time they come and they hit you on your shoulder and say, "Well done, Kathy. Well done, Leonardo. Well done, Angeline." Document every accomplishment, because you cannot go and say, "I want to pay. I think I deserve a pay because I've been doing really well and my manager says I've been doing a good job." That's not good enough. When you go to ask for pay, you always want to document. On this day, this is what I did. This is how I saved the company money. This is how I increase efficiency and all of that. Okay. That's the third one. The fourth thing that I want you to do, and please take this advice and take it wholeheartedly, never get too emotionally attached to anybody at your company, especially someone who has the power to decide your pay. Don't get too emotionally attached. Money is a very sensitive topic, and you never want it to be biased by unnecessary emotions. Make friends, be great with your coworkers, but never get too emotionally attached where you want to have a conversation regarding money and you're concerned about their emotions or how they are going to feel. No, you don't want to do that. This is your money. If you deserve it, you should get it. But don't cut yourself short by getting too emotionally attached that you start to consider the person's feelings instead of what you're supposed to take home. Okay. Fifth thing I want you to do now is go and make your ask. Do ask what you want. So you want to be very clear about what you want, how much you want, and explain exactly why you deserve to get that increase. Back it up with all those results that you have. Back it up with educational advancements that you have made, all the trainings you've taken. Back it up with all the current efficiencies that as a result of the education you have acquired. And then you let them also know that, this all this stuff you've acquired is also needed out there. And I want you to always keep your eyes open. There's nothing as amazing as having a powerful bargaining power. And what I mean by keeping your eyes open is see companies that are looking for people similar to yours. I'm not saying leave your job, especially if it's good, but I want you to always know that if people are looking for people like you and your company knows that you're in high demand, there's a high chance they'll rather keep you than let you go. So you always want to keep your eyes open to see what companies are looking for, to see what they're paying for that. So when you go, that's a good bargaining power, because guess what? I got options. I got a lot of options, and you want to bring that to the table. Lastly, and I put it right here, please don't be disrespectful and don't take it too personal if you don't get the results you want. Because sometimes what happens is when you go in a moment you don't get the results you want, people get angry, they start to insult the person in charge. You never want to do that. Sometimes when you approach someone and ask for a pay, it takes them unawares. So it can cause a little bit of a disgruntled response. Don't take it personal. Give them time to process it. When they process it and they come back to you, especially if you've proven with facts, with results that you can deliver and you deserve this pay, if they come back and they say they're not going to give it to you, now you can make an informed decision on what you want to do with your life. Okay? Well, ladies, that was my last one for you. I was supposed to be in and out of here 30 minutes, and I think I got it in. All right. So today's focus again was for women who are career focused, that are working and doing amazing things in different organizations. And my hope was and is that I left you with a good understanding of what happens to your paycheck so that you can know what to do to ensure that you're maximizing your take home pay. You can know what to do to make sure that you're aligning yourselves to qualify for lots of the tax credits that are there for you, knowing your filing status, and then also prioritizing investment so you can build wealth, while making sure that you have some kind of emergency fund for any emergencies that may come, in the course of you working or anything happening. And then lastly, how to negotiate for an increase in your pay. We work so hard, and there's no reason why we shouldn't get what we deserve. So if you're watching this and you're not sure how to go from where you are and you need a little bit more support, I would love for you to hop on my calendar. I don't Even if you're in tax season, or maybe you feel like your W-4 was not well completed and you didn't pay enough taxes, or you paid too much taxes, you want to understand what to do, I have a complimentary 15-minute consult you can book on my calendar, and let's have a chat. I'll be more than happy to guide you. If you're someone who actually wants to take the time to put solid plans in place, maybe you want to book a full hour, you can get on my calendar and do that as well. I cannot wait to see the amazing things that you guys are going to do. I would love to hear feedback. If you're able to apply this to your job, I would love to hear how that turned out for you. I'm excited for us to keep winning, because the generation coming behind us is watching us. Our kids are watching us, and every win every individual win benefits the entire community. I applaud every woman that has been pushing. Thank you all. I'm going to go now and take a look at the chat because I was kind of focused. I didn't want to get sidetracked. I'm going to take a look and see if there are any questions that I need to answer before I hop out of here. And if you have any questions, you can send it in. Hey, Poon, I see you. So Leonard says, does investing in a business help in tax write-off? Oh, that's a good one. Yes, but not the investment amount. Is the deductions from the business that help with tax write-off. So when you invest your money, it's like if you take your money and buy a property, or if you take your money and you invest in a business, because there's been an exchange, which means you put money and you got something in exchange. There's not necessarily an instant tax benefit, but because the money goes in to cover expenses for the business, those expenses now become tax write-offs that help to reduce any taxable liability that you could have. So that's a really good question, Leo. Thank you for that. Let's see. Okay, thank you. All right. Someone who's here. Empower Women is planning for a better future. Yes, Empower Women is planning for a better future. Thank you, guys. And if you have not grabbed a copy of The Fabric of a Shiro, make sure you get it, especially for entrepreneurs. If you haven't grabbed the business planner I do every year, grab it. It's on Amazon. This is so good. Shout out to Solange who just received her copy. So babes who just received her copy. I'm really excited. And everyone else who's been reaching out to me that they got their copies. It's an incredible tool for every business owner to have. Please grab it. Tomorrow we'll be talking to business owners, and on Sunday we'll be talking to founders of nonprofits. Guys, it's gonna be an amazing next couple of days. So excited, so grateful that you were able to join us in this Elite Women Tax and Business Summit. This was day one, and I am excited for all that is to come for all of us. Okay, I'm wishing everyone just amazing success. We're here, we're a full service CPA firm at the ARC NPS. If you need support, if you feel like your situation is, one that you want to get clarity on, you want to speak to a professional like myself, don't forget to hop on my calendar and take advantage of it. Hey, Ben, I see you. Bernadette Kinyo is right there. Guys, I don't know if you've ever seen the pretty blue dress I wore in Basel Convention. She made it. She does incredible markings in Bamenda. So if you need it, make sure you reach out to her. Thank you, Ima, for joining. Thank you, everyone who hopped on. I'm going to be calling it quits at this time. What an amazing time hanging out with all of you. I look forward to connecting tomorrow. We'll be back exactly 3 p.m. Eastern time, and it's going to be packed with more information, just amazing things for women who are business owners. And for those that get to watch it later on, still reach out if you have questions or if you need clarity with anything. Okay, thank you all. This has been Dr. Lily Binglow, your favorite, finest, smartest, abacus, CPA, like that. Madam Yonka, it was good being here. Talk to you all. Bye. Yes, thank you so much, Nima. Thank you so much.